Welcome to Hacktoberfest Kickoff Celebration 2021, and this time it's the EMEA edition. EMEA stands for Europe, Middle East, and Africa edition. Thank you for joining us. We have about 60 plus folks joining, and we expect more to join because there were a lot of RSVPs. I'm Cynthia, as I mentioned earlier. I manage community engagement for APAC and India markets, and I'm speaking to you from India, and my team is based across Europe. We have Kajal. Kajal is the wizard behind this EMEA staff team. He is the GTM lead for EMEA, and we have a few others as well. I'll walk you through as we go through the slides. If we can move on to. Yes, as you can see, all of you are from across the globe with diverse origins and languages. Thank you so much. And this is the staff team. We have Lorraine, who manages sponsorship events for EMEA. We have Kajal, who heads the EMEA region. We have Oliver, who manages community engagement for us at EMEA, and Vasily is the tech expert. So Oliver and Vasily will be available on chat throughout the session. If you have any queries, if you would like to discuss with them, please use the chat window and they'll be able to answer you. Let me walk you through the agenda. For those who are already aware of Hacktoberfest, you might have already participated in it and would know about the editions. For those who may not, who are first timers, we will give you a quick overview of what Hacktoberfest is. And of course, Kajal will walk you through the history behind Hacktoberfest, how it started and all of that until now. And then we'll show you a process of how you can sign up to Hacktoberfest, how you can create your first pull request. And we'll move on to our lineup of speakers. We have amazing maintainers and our premium partners joining us today. So they will come up on stage and they will talk about their projects, how you can contribute to their projects, etc. After that, we will hang out and code, which means we will break out into smaller sessions, small breakout rooms. Each breakout room will be moderated by a speaker. And during that session, which is like for 10 minutes though, you can talk to the maintainer about their project and how you can contribute to them. And lastly, there is a fun game. It's a quiz. So please pay attention, especially to Kajal's slides, because the quiz is based on that. And the top 5 winners of the quiz may get a good swag from us. So yes, moving on. So what is Hacktoberfest, right? Hacktoberfest, as you all know, it's a month-long celebration of open source software. And this time, we're doing it in partnership with Intel, Appright, and DeepSource. Thank you so much. We have representatives from Appright and DeepSource today, and they'll be speaking to you in some time. So during this month is where open source enthusiasts like you and developers come on board to contribute to the projects. You can do that in several ways. One, you can be a maintainer where you can create and share projects to collaborate. 2, you can be a contributor where you can start contributing to the projects via pull requests. And 3, you can organize events. It's not just DigitalOcean team which organizes events. We have events worldwide. And for that, what you have to do is you have to go to the Hacktoberfest website. There is an events section, and use that to fill in an event request form. And there's a team that evaluates the events. In this case, it will be Lorraine. She will evaluate and get back to you, and you can conduct events on your own. And of course, we give you an event organization kit to organize your own events. And you can also be mentors. We have community influencers here. I think Karen has already joined us. He's one of the community influencers. We have Sebastian, Andrea. So they will be your mentors. You could also be a mentor. You can start contributing and become a mentor. And lastly, you can donate to open source projects. So this is just a surface level, a gist of Hacktoberfest. Moving on to what's happening today. Okay, I have a promo video for you on what open source is, on the importance of open source. So you can play that, please.
What I love about open source software is that it allows more people to shape the software that's shaping our world.
We really wouldn't be here. We wouldn't have community if it wasn't for our open source.
You know, if you look around the industry, you'll see so much of what we do is powered by open source software, even if you don't know it.
Open source is at the heart of pretty much most technologies that people are using today.
It's so important because it's also a way to share ideas.
So if you want software that really serves a lot of different types of needs, that serves different types of communities, you need more people building that software, and open source allows for that.
I've been checking chat and amazing definitions to open source, and thank you for that. Just a quick note to our speakers. I know some of you sent me on chat, but if you could also just do a quick ping to Oliver. I know Sebastian is here, Andreas is here. We have Gustavo, other speakers. If you're already on board, please send a note to Oliver that you're here so that we can line you up for the speaking slot. Let's move on to the next video. This is a special message from our CEO.
What I love about open source software is...
Yeah, let's see what Yancy has to say.
Welcome to Hacktoberfest. At DigitalOcean, we believe the community is bigger than just us, which is why we celebrate the open source community throughout the month of October. We started Hacktoberfest in 2013, and that first year we had nearly 700 participants. And over the years, Hacktoberfest has grown to a community of over 150,000 participants in 135 countries who participate by sharing their projects, making pull requests, attending events, donating, and showing their support of open source. We welcome everyone of all backgrounds and levels of technical experience, especially those who are new to open source. Thank you to everyone participating in Hacktoberfest this year, especially the maintainers of open source projects. It's because of you that Hacktoberfest has been a success in bringing so many people into the open source software community over the many years. We can't wait to see what this year's contributors do. And happy hacking.
Thank you for that, Kejal. That was a special message from our CEO, Yancy, today. And let's see what's happening today. It's really nice to see so many of you joining in. We have about 100 plus folks from different countries, and thank you for that. I see a number of first timers and those who are in their second year as well. I'm sure you're going to have more fun. So what's going to happen today, right? So you're going to meet the maintainers after some time. So Kejal will walk you through the history behind Hacktoberfest, and then you're going to have the opportunity to meet the maintainers and contribute to their projects. So that's what is the crux of today's kickoff celebration. And then, of course, we'll have a fun quiz. Don't miss that. That's going to happen like after an hour. And of course, we'll conclude the session. But this does not stop you from leveraging the Hacktoberfest community. There is a Discord a server that's available for Hacktoberfest participants alone. Oliver, if you can share the link to the Discord, please. So you can always go there and chat with other community members on the Discord channel. And of course, if you go to Hacktoberfest website, there's a heap of resources available. There are FAQs. So if you're first timers, please feel free to leverage those FAQs and resources and comment on the Discord chat server if you want to ask any queries to the influencers. With that, we'll move on to the history, and over to you, Kejal. Take it away.
All right, just give me a thumbs up, Cynthia, if you can hear me fine.
Loud and clear.
Perfect. All right. Thanks so much, Cynthia. Hi, hackers. This is Kejal. I'm connecting today from a very, very rainy Netherlands. And I'm so excited to be kicking off this EMEA edition for Hacktoberfest. I think this is the first time we are doing this. And I must admit, this is my first time with Hacktoberfest, but as I've been told with everybody, from everyone, it's so amazing to see so many of you who have been with us for the past 8 years, right? So it's so awesome. And if you can look at some of the teas, I'm sure some of you would be proud owners of some of the teas, some of those colorful teas that you see in the pics here. But let's just take a quick look down the memory lane, right? All right, so we started in 2014. And in 2014, what we noticed is that our customers at that time loved the swag that DigitalOcean used to give away. And as most of you, if not every one of you knows, DigitalOcean is founded on the principles of open source tech and communities at the very core of what we do at DigitalOcean, right? So we thought, okay, if our customers love teas, how about we give open source a boost by giving away free teas to whoever wants to contribute to open source, right? And that's how we started Hacktoberfest. In the very first year, actually, we saw more than 500 signups, more than 500 completions, and 50,000 pull requests, right? And this was really, really encouraging for us. So we said, okay, next year we came back stronger. And this time GitHub saw what we were trying to do with the open source community. And so GitHub said, okay, partner with you. And we said, yes, arms open. Let's partner. And that year we saw a 20-fold increase in the number of signups and 10-fold increase in the number of completions. So this was really a big boost for us in the second year. Going into the third year, what we introduced in the third year was we introduced the Meetup Event Kit, so that which would enable organizers the world over to bring Hacktoberfest to the local communities, right? And again, you can see from those numbers that the numbers of signups, the completions, and the pull requests, they kept on increasing. In the next year, in 2017, by now, Hacktoberfest was a thing, right, in the open source community. The open source developers world over used to look forward to the month of October, not only for the Oktoberfest that happens in Germany, but also for Hacktoberfest to hack their way away and contribute to the open source community. 2018, that was the 5th year. We came in with a new website and a new shirt. And as you can see, the numbers just kept on growing. Going into 2019, same, you see the numbers going up and up. So many people the world over contributing to open source. Let me take a moment about last year, right? Because last year was a very crucial for everyone the world over. 7.5 billion people the world over were impacted by COVID, right? But we did not stop there, all of us, right? We said, okay, if that is the case, let's take Hacktoberfest online and let's go completely virtual. And this is something that I'm personally proud of. What we also did is that we said, let's do something cooler, right? Instead of just giving away teas, let's give everybody an option to go green, right? So 3% of the participants, they opted to pick trees and not teas. And I hope that this year we are going to continue with this. And I hope that this year we are able to have an increase in the number of people opting for the trees and not teas, and thus reducing the carbon footprint. But those are the 7 years, right? Many of us have been with this movement since the inception in 2014. And it's so amazing to see where we started and where we have come now, right? Now, for this edition, the 8th edition, the 2021 edition of Hacktoberfest. So what's the start, stop, continue, right? What does it? What are some of the things that we would like to continue with? What are some of the things we said maybe that didn't work out? And what are some of the new things we have introduced, right? So, but before that, how does it all work, right? It's kind of simple. Anyone and everyone who wants to contribute to open source is invited. Maintainers, who are basically the driving force behind all these open source projects, they make everybody known what their projects are, and then contributors, they contribute, and once the contributors cross a certain criteria, their work is rewarded. So it's kind of simple in that sense, right? What are we keeping same this year as last year? Is that most of the rules and regulations from last year will remain the same. Events will be held virtual even this year through either live streaming or as a virtual meetup or through office hours. Like I mentioned before, we want to keep the trend of letting people pick trees rather than teas. And we are trying to make a bit more focused attempt on helping our maintainers, and I'll elaborate on that subsequently, right? Good thing to know is what is different this year compared to last year, right? Again, to thank our maintainers, who are again a driving force behind everything, they would be receiving a swag pack simply just for listing their project and hashtagging them. We are super excited to also introduce GitLab, also as a way for contributors and maintainers to collaborate upon. And this year onwards, you can also donate money to the open source projects of your choice. So these are some of the new things that we are bringing in this year. So in a summary, what is happening this year in the 8th edition. First, we are super, super proud to have AppWrite and DeepSource as our partners. And we are very happy to have Intel as our returning partner from past year. You will get to hear a bit about AppWrite and DeepSource later on in this session. So I would encourage that you stick around. GitLab, that's a new one besides GitHub. We are increasing the focus on maintainers and trying to support them. And we also are opening up the donations to open source projects. Quick rules, very simple, and all of this, don't worry, all of this information would be available on the Hacktoberfest website. But quick rules for the contributors, you require 4 PR or pull requests to complete. Either you could do it on GitHub or on GitLab. The PRs must be hashtagged as Hacktoberfest accepted, or rather labeled, or the repository needs to have Hacktoberfest, and your pull request is either merged or is approved by the maintainer or has a Hacktoberfest accepted label. Right. Complementarily, for the maintainers, there are 4 actions that are required if you're a maintainer of a project. First, across GitHub or GitLab, please make sure that you mark your repo with the Hacktoberfest topic. And you can take one of those 4 actions. You can add Hacktoberfest accepted to a pull request from a contributor. You can leave an approving or pending review on a pull request. You can merge a pull request. And this is something important, and we heard the maintainers loud and clear last year, is to please make sure that if something is not right, please add label of spam or invalid to a particular pull request. So again, maybe this was a quick run through of it. All of this information will be available on the website, right? And before we actually start contributing, it's important to know, take a step back and understand what's the philosophy and behind Hacktoberfest. Why do we all just come together every year to contribute to this movement, right? I think it is all about people. I think it's all about community, and it's all about open source, right? And trying to make the world a better place step by step, right? And I think it is all about our contributors, our maintainers, and we have seen in the past that it also creates jobs. And if all of this is not enough for all of that motivation is not enough for you, here's a sneak peek on of the 2021 T that you would that you stand a chance to win if you are contributing to the open source movement, and of course the option of planting trees instead of picking up a tea. So I don't know who can say no to such an offer, right? All right, let me take a step and share with you some of the basics. Maybe for people who are returning back, it takes all this refresher 10-minute course would be like a repeat, but probably it helps especially new people or people who would like a quick refresh on how do they actually go about participating and contributing in Hacktoberfest. So here we go.
Welcome to Hacktoberfest. Hacktoberfest is a month-long celebration of open source software run by DigitalOcean. Hacktoberfest is open to everyone in our global community. To participate, you'll need to submit 4 quality pull requests to public GitHub repositories. When you do, you'll earn some swag, including your very own Hacktoberfest 2020 t-shirt. You can sign up anytime between October 1st and October 31st, and we encourage you to connect with other developers and Hacktoberfest enthusiasts for virtual events and information sessions starting in September. In this quick video, we'll introduce you to Git and GitHub, the version control system that we'll be using to track your progress and repository hosting service that shares projects to collaborate on. By the end of this tutorial, you'll be ready to submit your first pull request and will be well on your way to participating in Hacktoberfest. Before we begin with Git and GitHub, let's talk about version control. When developers work on a project together, oftentimes they'll need to work on the same code base. While they're working, each developer needs to know about what changes the other dev made, so as not to duplicate work or write code over what has already been done. A version control system serves as a saving program for the code, where it assigns a version to a project and tracks changes made over time to each file in the project. In this way, developers can work together on a project by checking in with the latest version to see the changes made before working on their portion of the project's code. Git, a version control system used to manage developer projects of all sizes, was created in 2005 by Linus Torvalds, the creator of Linux, to help developers contribute code and share code revisions in a way that was fast, efficient, and inexpensive. Git creates code repositories to help developers edit, share, and publish code for all. GitHub is a cloud-based repository hosting service that allows developers to take code that they've written on their local machines and share it with the world. GitHub provides a way to share the version track projects on your local computer publicly through repositories or central file locations, and depending on the project's availability, it can either be a private or public repository. Other developers can continue the project to edit the code, provide insight, and more. To get started with GitHub, you can create an account at github.com. We have links on the Hacktoberfest resources page that details exactly how to get started with GitHub. Check it out after this video. All right, let's get started cloning and editing our first repo. First, let's navigate to the repo that we'd like to clone. For the sake of this tutorial, I'm going to use our Haiku repo. If you're following along with me, we've provided the link in the transcript for you to clone this repo as well. So I found a repo that looks interesting to work on that I can contribute meaningful content to. Remember, each of the pull requests you submit for Hacktoberfest should contribute to an existing repo in a way that helps the project to thrive. Take some time to pick one that resonates with you before starting. All right, before I clone this repo, that is, take a copy of the code here on GitHub onto my local machine, I want to take a copy of the whole repo into my own GitHub account. To do this, I'll make a fork of the repo. It's like I'm taking a bite of it, a copy that I can use to edit that doesn't affect the main or source code base. I'll navigate to click the fork button, then watch as GitHub takes this repo and adds it as a copy to my account. As you see, now my name appears as the creator of this repo, which is a fork of the main Haiku repo. Next, I'll need to navigate over to my command line interface. I'm using Terminal on Mac, but there's a number of command line interfaces that are available for your OS. Use the one that works best for you. Git also offers a graphical interface that allows you to edit repos with visual commands. A link to download and learn more about that interface is available as a resource. In the terminal, I'm going to enter Git Clone. This command will clone or copy the copy that I just created from the Haiku repo down to my local machine. This will enable me to make changes to the code base locally or on my own machine to upload to the cloud remotely. Awesome. So we have the Haiku repo down on our local machine, and now we're ready to make a change. Using the command line interface, I'm going to navigate to the folder of our cloned repo, Haiku repo, by using CD, or change directory. I'm using Visual Studio Code as my text editor and IDE of choice. There's a number of editors and IDEs or integrated development environments out there that allow you to write code in a number of languages and format it using best practices, snippets, and more. While Visual Studio Code is just one IDE, I'd suggest checking out a few and picking the one that works best for your coding environment. Resources on picking an IDE can be found on our Hacktoberfest resource page. Now, in a situation where I'm in an unfamiliar code base, I take my time to read and understand everything that's going on and find parts of the code that I might make more efficient or suggest different solutions for. It's worth it to fully understand the code base and read any associated documentation provided before making changes. Now that we've made a change to the Haiku repo, we'll need to track and save that change. The first step in tracking your change is to add it to the version you're working on. To do that, we'll execute the command git add. Writing the command in this way allows you to add all changes made to the repo across files. If you need to only submit changes to an individual file, use git add in the name of file. After we add, we'll get no confirmation. To see your changes, you can execute the command Git Status. This allows you to check on the status of your tracked changes. We'll see that your file has been added, but not committed as a change. Git provides this step in the event that you need to amend a change before officially tracking it as new or edited code. Next, let's commit our change. We're confident that it's right and would like to submit this change for consideration of those who maintain the project. I'll execute the command git commit and add a message with /m so that other developers who are collaborating on this project will know what my changes are. In this way, everyone can be informed of changes that are made. This message is tracked along with the commit ID in my username so other developers know who added this change. After committing, I'll need to push my changes from my local machine to the remote repository on GitHub. To do this, I'll execute the command git push. Here, we can designate an origin for the push. In this instance, we want it to go straight to the main repo that I forked from the source Haiku repo. So far, we've identified a repo that we'd like to edit. We took a copy of the repo onto our GitHub account and local machine using fork and clone. We then made a change and submitted our change with git add, then solidified our change by running git commit, which committed the change, and git push, which pushed our change from the local machine to the remote repository on GitHub. If we look on GitHub now, we'll see that the change we made is reflected in the files in our copy of the repo. Exciting! We're now ready to let the maintainers of the project know that we have a change to the repo that we're confident about and ready to submit. To do this, we'll click the pull request button here to the right. After the pull request button is clicked, a new page will open with a form that explains the changes we made and shows if the changes made will in any way conflict with the existing content. We'll add in an appropriate title that details the change, and in the description add an explanation of what changes were made and why. What you add here can vary depending on the project. Take a look at the project's collaboration guidelines to make sure your pull request is formatted correctly. After adding in that information, we'll scan the PR page to make sure that our committed change does not conflict. If everything checks out, we'll get a green Submit Pull Request button at the bottom that escalates our request to make a change to the source Haiku poem codebase that will be live for anyone viewing that main branch. Be patient. It may take maintainers some time to review your request. Amendments and comments can be added on the pull request page, and new commits to the same affected files will appear in the request history here. Congratulations, we've successfully submitted our first pull request. You did it! In this tutorial, you learned about Git and GitHub and successfully identified and submitted a change to a public repo. For Hacktoberfest, you'll need to submit 4 meaningful pull requests. So again, find the project that resonates with you and have fun hacking. For more information about Hacktoberfest, visit our main page. For additional information about Git and GitHub, visit github.com. Happy Hacktoberfest 2020!
All right, I hope that was a good refresher. And again, like Cynthia mentioned in the chat, all of these videos would be available. All the resources that you would need throughout this month would be are already probably on the website. So do not worry if the streaming wasn't very effective for you guys. All right, the next up is a few of our maintainers and our partners, Appright and Deep Source. But before we do that, we would like to capture this historic moment. So if you would like to be okay for your pic to be taken, I would request Cynthia to take a quick pic and save the moment for posterity.
Sure, Kejal, if you can stop sharing screen so that we get the gallery view.
Hacktoberfest. Hacktoberfest.
All right, stop sharing.
We respect privacy, so if you do not want to be part of the picture, please turn off your camera. But if you'd like to be part, then keep your webcam on. Feel free to take your own screenshots as well. And yes, let me take. Wait, after you were turning on your camera. Yes. All right. Let me click away. Smile, please. One more. Sorry, the chat keeps popping. One more. Smile away. Awesome. Thank you, team. Go on, KJ.
All right. Thanks, Cynthia. All right, let me share my screen again. Here we go. All right. Okay, so today we have 7 speakers. We will be kicking it off with Torsten from Upright and Vishnu from Deep Source, both of whom have partnered with us on Hacktoberfest. And then that will be followed by 5 maintainers. And speaking to them, you'll get an idea, what their projects are about and how do you really go about contributing to either their projects or any other open source project, right? So, Torsten, if you are already there, happy to give the control to you.
Thank you. Hello. All right. I hope everyone can see what I'm presenting right now.
Yes, it's coming
Perfect.
up.
Thank you. So thank you for having me. Big shout out to the people over at DigitalOcean that make Hacktoberfest happen. So we at Upright are super happy.
Just a quick check. We don't see any slide if you're sharing one.
Oh, do you see it now?
Yes.
No. Okay, perfect. That was the mistake. All right. Yeah, we at Upright are super happy to be a premium partner this year. And in this session, I'm going to give an introduction about Upright and tell you a little bit about an amazing open source backend and also how to contribute. So before I talk about Upright, maybe I should start a little bit about myself. My name is Torsten Dittmann. I'm from Germany and a full stack engineer at Upright. Moving away from myself, we head over to the more interesting topic, which is Upright. Upright is an open source, secure end-to-end backend server for web, mobile, and Flutter developers. Upright abstracts the complexity behind cloud backend development to make developers' lives easier and hopefully more fun by giving the project a better starting point. On the bottom, you can see a screenshot showing part of the dashboard that comes with Upright. Beginning with the reasons why Upright is a thing. We developers face many challenges when working on a project. Most of these challenges you face across multiple projects, which makes implementation feel quite repetitive. You don't create a web framework from scratch for each side project you begin, even though we JavaScript developers tend to do this on a regular basis. But no, we use something like React or Svelte, which has already done most of the repetitive work for us to build reactive user interfaces without worrying too much about what is happening internally. Upright is the backend equivalent to this. Another aspect is security. To make it right, it needs many years of experience to fully understand everything. Upright's goal is to make software development a lot less painful. Upright covers most of the backend tools required to build a great app on any platform, authentication, which comes with 20+ OAuth providers and many different options, user management, a database with collections and documents, storage, which comes with antivirus, encryption, and compression, cloud functions, which help you extend Upright with your business logic, webhooks, built-in security, with rate limits to prevent abuse, and each resource can be protected by a very flexible permission system, a service for geolocation and localization, image manipulation, which allows you to create thumbnails on the fly and much more. And all of that can be subscribed to in real time over a WebSocket connection, which is not bound to only the database, but all resources of AppWrite. This is what AppWrite abstracts to you. Part of it you should be very familiar with if you have worked on a project in the past before. On the left side, you can see beside the typical clients like web, mobile, and backend, we also have a CLI and a console, which is our dashboard, available for you to manage most of your backend using AppWrite. So why developers use AppWrite? My most favorite point is open source, meaning full transparency, and you can set up AppWrite with all its features, including the dashboard, on your local machine or for production on a droplet. Beside that, we have a public RFC process in place for upcoming features, which allow the community to share their thoughts on planned features. Since AppWrite uses Docker, we are truly cross-platform and can run anywhere where Docker can run. Also, your data belongs to you. Since AppWrite is self-hosted, you have complete control and ownership over your data. This becomes more and more important with stricter data regulation laws being introduced to our world. We don't favor any programming languages. That's why we are offering over 10 SDKs in different languages or technologies. Developer experience is important. We thought in depth about a developer journey starting from the docs through the integration between different SDKs to how predictable and consistent the different APIs are. In the past, we've spent hours in choosing the naming conventions to make sure the dev experience is as smooth as possible. We are designed to scale. AppWrite will automatically scale with your number of cores, and each container is stateless, so it can easily be duplicated if you need to scale. It's secure out of the box, comes with a very small footprint, which even allows you to run AppWrite on your Raspberry Pi. So what's next for AppWrite? Native iOS support with an upcoming Swift SDK, support for relational and non-relational databases, which will allow you to choose the database AppWrite will use under the hood. A complete redesign of our Cloud Functions architecture, which will introduce up to 10 times faster response times, multi-factor authentication, storage buckets, which will allow you to connect the storage service to providers like S3 or DigitalOcean Spaces, a managed and hosted solution of AppWrite, which will let you use AppWrite without hosting it yourself, and much more. So how to get started with AppWrite? To install AppWrite, a single Docker command is needed, where a wizard will guide you through the installation process. It's super simple, it's very quick, under 5 minutes you have AppWrite running. Here I show an example of how our SDK is used in Flutter. As you can see, we are initializing a client and setting the endpoint of our AppWrite instance and the ID of our projects. By the way, AppWrite allows you to run multiple projects on a single instance. Creating an account is also very simple. We initialize the account service with our client and call the create method with an email, password, and name. To upload the file, we create an instance of the storage service, passing our client, and boom. With the create file method, we just uploaded a picture to AppWrite. The same goes for database. We create an instance of the database service and are able to create a document with a simple create document call. As you might have noticed, the developer experience is consistent and predictable across multiple services. And this you can see across any SDK and any service. Now, all of this was handled by a REST API, but we want to build a modern application that requires to be told from the server what happens without constantly pulling from the server. Our real-time endpoint allows you to listen for changes on the backend, let it be an update to a document or a file that has been uploaded. The limit basically is your imagination. So back to Hacktoberfest. How to contribute to AppWrite. The first and probably the most popular thing is tackling open issues. Work on our curated list of Hacktoberfest issues. Most of them are beginner friendly. building demo apps. Build a simple demo app with your favorite technology using AppWrite. Writing blog posts. Share about your AppWrite experience with our learning experience, written or in video, to help new community members to get started with AppWrite. We have special prizes, not prizes, but special goodies for contributors to AppWrite during this Hacktoberfest. Every contribution will be rewarded with different goodies, starting from a sticker pack to a limited AppWrite Hacktoberfest t-shirt when you do 4 or more contributions. All of that said, if you do 4 contributions, you will also get the sticker pack or a mug. And more information you can find on hacktoberfest.appwrite.io. And we cannot wait to see what you all will create. We are super excited. Hacktoberfest is and was a big thing for us for 2 years now. And thank you for joining and listening. If you got interested or excited as I am about AppWrite, feel free to join our community in Discord and be welcomed by many awesome developers. Thank you.
All right, awesome. Thank you so much. That was AppWrite. Next up, we have Vishnu from Deep Source. Take it away, Vishnu.
Hello, everyone. I hope you can hear me.
Yes, we can hear you loud and clear, Vishnu.
All right, all right. Let me just share my screen. All right. So, yeah. So I'm from Deep Source. I'll just give you so who am I? I am an engineering lead at Deep Source. I lead the platform and infrastructure teams here at Deep Source. Let me take you through what is Deep Source. So Deep Source is, by our definition, is a continuous code quality platform that helps millions of developers across the globe ship good code. So when we started Deep Source, a lot of our effort went into supporting open source communities across the globe, and about 10,000 repositories at least. The last time I checked, we have about 10,000 repositories using Deep Source to ensure that the code that is being committed is of good quality. So we analyze around 2 billion lines of code every month to detect issues in code, and we have about 300 million bugs that we prevent from being shipped every month. So I'll just get into how you can use Deep Source and get involved in contributing to open source. So let me share my screen. So getting started with Deep Source is quite straightforward. So deepsource.io/login should be. Yeah, so getting started with Deep Source is as simple as adding your GitHub repository to Deep Source with a simple install. Oops. And you're good to go. So you basically select what kind of issues within your code you're more interested about. You save. You select the repository you want to analyze, and you select the language, and that's about it. So that's just how easy it is to get started with Deep Source. Now, Pi2Factor is a two-factor authentication app that is an open source library that we have built, and Deep Source. Yeah, so this basically gives you an overview of all the issues within your code, and you get a bunch of features to automatically fix issues if there are issues within your code. And yeah, so this is what Deep Source does for open source projects. Now, to kind of talk about the biggest highlight of this year is we're introducing Deep Source Discover, which is a platform that is dedicated to the open source community, which is available at deepsource.io/discover, where we list the popular projects that are open source and where you can start contributing right away. And if you notice, there is a Hacktoberfest label. That means that this repository probably has Hacktoberfest labeled issues as well. So let me just open up one of the issues. So this is, you do not need to log in or sign up to get access to this. Once you log in, you can see the issues that they have, and you can basically pick one of these issues and start contributing. And if you want to go to the GitHub repo, click on this button right here, and you basically see the GitHub repo with the issues that are there. So for maintainers, it is as easy as toggling a button in your repository settings, where you can choose to list your project on Discover, and we will and expect contributions from everyone. So that was a very quick walkthrough of what Deep Source is doing this year with Hacktoberfest. And yeah, so that is about it. And happy hacking.
Thanks, Vishnu. Thanks so much. That was Vishnu from Deep Source, another of our partners at Hacktoberfest. Next up, we have Sebastian Ramirez from Germany. Sebastian, would you like to take it away?
Awesome. Let me share my screen. Can you all hear me?
Yes, Sebastian.
Excellent. Let me share my screen. Can you see it all?
Yep.
Awesome. Let me move the window over here. Cool. So, well, who am I? I'm Sebastian Ramirez, or Triángulo. I'm in Berlin, Germany, but I'm actually from Colombia. That's why the accent. I am a staff software engineer at Fortot. Fortot is applying sophisticated machine learning to the customer experience field. And on top, I'm also doing some external consultancy for some other projects and teams. You can find me on GitHub, LinkedIn, and Twitter. I created this thing called FastAPI, another thing called Typer, and another one called Sql Model. These are all open source projects. So let me tell you a little bit about them. So FastAPI is a Python web API framework that provides high performance. It's easy to learn, it's fast to code, and it's ready for production. It currently has 35,000 GitHub stars, or I think a bit more. It has been growing about 1,000 stars per month or something, so people have been liking it, which is awesome. It's currently used by Microsoft, Uber, Netflix, and a bunch of other organizations, and the performance is in the top rank for Python. So this is FastAPI. If you have heard about any of my projects, it will be FastAPI, most probably. The other project is Typer. This is a command line interface application library or framework. The idea is to build great CLIs, or command line interface applications. It's easy to code because it's all based on type hints, on Python type hints or type annotations. So the idea with type annotations, which is the same with FastAPI, is that you get auto-completion and inline errors in your editor everywhere. And so you get auto-completion for your code, but also for the users. The way that Typer is designed is that the applications, the command line applications that you create,
hey,
will have...
I'm sorry, I need to interrupt you.
Yes.
Are you sure you are sharing the right screen?
Wait a second.
You can see the Hacktoberfest page up here.
Oh no, then I'm sharing the wrong one. I'm sorry.
No worries.
Start again. So terrible.
Thanks for pointing it out.
Thank you, everyone. Let's see.
No worries, Sebastian. Parts of work from home, no worries.
I think Zoom has been playing with me recently. Let's see. Let's try again. So can you see it now? I'm sharing the whole screen.
Yes.
This is Typer. Okay,
yes.
Let me go back. So I'm Sebastian Ramirez. I'm at Fortot. I build these things, and you can find me on GitHub, LinkedIn, Twitter, all that stuff. Is that better?
Yep.
Nice. So I created FastAPI. FastAPI is this web framework that I was telling you about. Typer is this command line interface application framework or library for building command line applications. And the idea with Typer is that you get the users of your application will have auto-completion in the shell. They will have tab completion even in PowerShell in Windows, which is quite difficult to achieve. And then there's Sql Model, which is another project for working with SQL databases in Python. And it's designed for simplicity, compatibility, and robustness. The idea with Sql Model is that it's based on Pydantic and Sql Model, and Sql Alchemy. And these tools are the ones that are doing all the work underneath. And Sql Model, because it's based on Pydantic, is very compatible with FastAPI. You can integrate the same models directly. And Sql Model uses SQL Alchemy to do all the SQL work. So you get all the robustness and all the widespread usage of SQL Alchemy underneath. This is designed for FastAPI, and the idea is that you will get auto-completion for everything. So SQL Model is basically a layer on top of Pydantic and SQL Alchemy, combining them both in a way that makes it easy to use with FastAPI and to avoid a lot of code duplication. So these are the main 3 projects that I have. And now, if you want to contribute to FastAPI Typer or SQL Model, there's a section in the documentation, particularly about helping these projects and how you can help and how you can contribute. One of the things that I will highlight the most is translations. Many of you here speak more than one language, and the documentation of FastAPI is currently being translated to multiple languages by just a bunch of community people all around the world. I only speak a couple of languages at most, and this is something that I cannot do. I cannot translate documentation to other languages that I don't speak. This is something that can only be done by people that speak other languages. So helping translating this documentation to other languages will help the people around you in your communities, and will also help the project. And of course, it's a great way to participate in Hacktoberfest and to participate in the open source community. There's a lot more information about how to contribute to FastAPI here, how to contribute to Typer, and how to contribute to SQL Model here. Those are the main links, and that's what I have for you. Thank you very much.
Wonderful. I don't know, Sebastian, if you looked at the comments, but I would encourage you looking at them.
Nice. Let me.
All right. While you do that, next up we have Karen Tamrazian. I hope I say your name correctly. And Karen joins from Germany.
Yeah.
Karen, would you like to take it away?
Sure. Let me try this thing, which is called sharing the screen. I will go for sure with the whole screen now. Yeah, and by the way, you pronounced it perfectly, the surname. Thanks. So hopefully you can see something.
Yes, we can. If you are sharing, yeah, a browser tab called Cloud Community. Oh, now it's the slide deck.
Yeah, that's the right one. So yeah, let's start. I'm representing here the Cloud Study Network. It's a pretty big community, which is an international one, but we have a headquarters in Nuremberg, Germany. That's why probably you picked me, guys, to present here our projects, our repositories. Let's proceed. This is like a short agenda. We have like only 5 minutes. And by the way, the slides will be shared afterwards as well if you need the links and everything. So as I said, the community is called Cloud Study Network. We started like the whole thing in 2019, and we grew over 7,000 members by now. Our main interests are tech in general, cloud native technologies, and DevOps. There are some also random topics as well, like from time to time. So it's a global one. The headquarters in southern Germany in Nuremberg. And this is our homepage, if you just want to know what's going on. On the left is our logo, obviously. So yeah, let's talk a little bit about the projects themselves and how one can contribute. Surprisingly, we are very friendly for newbies. Everyone who is just starting for the first year, maybe Hacktoberfest campaign, and even non-developers. Like if you don't know how to code yet, that's great. We need you. Because you will be surprised, but we have a lot of repositories. What we use, we are actually using them to jointly collect information, like some kind of table, some kind of databases, doing some research and putting information there. So how you can start? You can just simply, we have an organization registered, like GitHub calls them organizations. We have an organization registered on GitHub. You can invite yourself there and be one of one of the members of the organization. Let me quickly show how it would look like on your profile. Just a moment. So this is just my GitHub profile. If you scroll down, you see some organizations at where you are taking part at, and they should be enabled to be visible. Here in the middle, you see is a logo of Cloud Study Network. This is what you can get as well on your profile, and people will see your association with an organization or community. So this is like how you, this is just absolutely optional step. But if you would like to have something like this, then yeah, that's doable with a self-invite link. So you don't have to ask anyone. There is a permission process at GitHub, but you can invite yourself using this little app. So let's move to the most important part here, the organization itself, registered on GitHub. This is where we keep all of our repositories. I will show you how they look like. Yeah, this is a tab actually for the organization itself. We have pinned some of the repositories where we would love to have contributions. You can pin up to 6 repositories, so that's why there's no more than 6. In the list of repositories, you will find everything, actually. So yeah, let's have a look like really quickly. Free certifications. That's something what really goes very well with our community members. Like our people like to learn stuff and get certified, and for free, it's a kind of no-brainer, right? So we have a pretty extended list of free certifications that it's all started pretty much at the pandemic time when companies like started to give away certifications, tech certifications, which are usually like paid. You should usually pay like hundreds of dollars for each one, but you could get it for free starting 2020. Yeah, and other stuff like this, like tech conferences, overview of tech conferences, you can contribute there. Just put information about the conference, like some details about it, link how to register. That's it. You don't need to program. Free hosting. This is like developers are, you know, they serve it very well with free stuff and free hosting as well. Free books. And champion ambassador MVP programs with different tech companies. This is like what I started like 1 week ago. So it's a very small list. Just let me give you a brief example here. Most of the information, the beginning information is stored in the README files. All you need to know is a Markdown, and Markdown is super easy to learn. You don't need to learn it. It's very intuitive actually. So we have a list of 5 ambassador programs with different like high-tech companies. You can expand it if you know any other program. You just add an item line here as via pull request, and you're in the game. One pull request is done. You will probably like 90% gets approved, whatever is being submitted here. Okay, that is how the repositories looks like. Just make sure whenever you're contributing to any repository in general during this whole campaign that it has a hashtag Hacktoberfest. There are other options as well, but it's a no-brainer. If a repository has a hashtag Hacktoberfest, or they call it topics, I guess, what's pretty much the same, then you can contribute and you can be sure if it's being approved by the maintainer of the repositories, and it will be counted towards your total pull requests for the Hacktoberfest. If you like some of the repositories there, would be great if you start them. This is how you measure on GitHub popularity of projects or repositories. Yeah, let's just quickly go to the next. I will give you a couple of ideas like what can be contributed, what kind of content. Yeah, as you saw, like most of our repositories are just textual files. These are like collection of information. Do a quick research on Google or your favorite search engine and add your information there, like in a textual form. That's pretty much like a, yeah, very straightforward way. Move past entries, events to special past files. So we don't usually delete information because, you know, it's precious. Maybe someone would like to look up what was going on like 1 year ago. We move like entries to special files, like for outdated information, like for conferences, you can move them to past. Look into repos for issues and try to solve them, some of them. So in every repository, is there like a special field for issues? If someone created an issue, you could try to address it. And you can also find obvious typos or mistakes, what we produce a lot as well, you know. And you can just simply try to fix them as well via your pull requests. Yeah, just double check if the information is correct. Maybe something would interest you, what you would like to use, just check this one. And if it's not correct, just fix it. That's pretty much like my advice is what can be contributed there. What kind of, and yeah, if you want to join community, if you want to stay around and chat with 7,000 other peers about your favorite topics, make sure to join our spaces and stay in touch at all times. That's pretty much it from my side. Thanks, everyone.
Thanks, Karen, so much. If you could share those links in the chat so that people have it for themselves, that would be great. All right, next up, we have Andreas Frömer from Germany.
Thank you. So let me share my screen first. If you can
Karen,
stop sharing your,
yeah, Karen, if you could stop sharing your screen, then
that's probably a great idea. Yeah, let me just figure out. Full share, I guess. I don't know if full share is the right one. No, I have to stop it like this. Okay, done. Thank you.
Yes, thank you. Okay, so let me just share my screen. All right. Okay, so this, do you see my slides only, hopefully? All right.
Yes.
So let me just start off by introducing myself. My name is Andreas Frömer. I'm a lead software developer. And I am a developer since '96, which is exactly 25 years ago by now. And I go by the icon has string handle as an open source maintainer. And yeah, so let's talk about the project I want to pitch to you guys for today. But for this, if I can, there we go. Before that, why am I doing open source? We all heard the opinions about what is open source for everyone else. So the first, or the 2 points for me is basically help others avoid problems I had in the past. So I'm always keen to help others solving problems which I stumble upon or even others stumble upon and solve them for them. So they don't have to actually manage to solve problems or deal with it hours long and stuff. So I'm keen to help others while solving my own problems as well. And also give back what has been given, which basically means that we are all using open source projects and stuff. So why not have something on your own to give back to everyone else? So yeah, and for this to happen or thing, there was some large projects managing in my past, which are pretty old projects and greenfield projects as well, which were pretty huge in the structure itself. And for me, it was sometimes pretty hard to keep track of every dependency this project used. So, or even see if this is even used anymore. So you won't ship any code you won't actually use onto your servers and stuff, which started off as an in-house project, then became an open source project, which pretty much increased in fame pretty soon, which led to certain version increasing updates and stuff to actually have it running with multiple other projects than our in-house project, which was pretty amazing to see the kind of implementations they were around. And so, yeah. So what can we do to actually track or see if anything is used or not used anymore? Well, I did a small project, which is a plugin for Composer, which helps you do that. So what does this actually do? If we run this right now, it just tries to see every provided symbol from a vendor package and checks it if this symbol is actually used inside your own code. So it analyzes your code statically and sees if you are actually using the package you're requiring. So if you are not, you can actually remove it from your project. So even there are some, there are some there are some dependencies which might cause trouble. So if you want to help me out, solve any problem or anything that might occur on your end when you while using it, head over to presented links and find an issue, which are all especially is labeled with Hacktoberfest. And also what I wanted to point out is that I am trying to, or I had a major refactoring on this package. So there are some things still missing. So it would be nice if there are some guys is helping me out to actually force the next major version so that actually you can enable yourself to be able to provide symbols in all kind of applications you are using. So you can find me on Twitter, also an email. And what I wanted to point out as well is we are doing some events, offline events, starting today for every Wednesday in this month in Munich. So if you want to join us, feel free to apply to the events. And maybe I will see some of you here in Munich and we can hack together. So yeah, that's it from my side, from my little project, and happy hacking, everyone. Thank you for having me.
Thanks so much, Andrea. Thanks so much. Happy hacking. All right, from Germany, we move on to Ghana. We have Clemo Sam joining us from Ghana.
Hello. Let me share my screen. Can you see my screen all right?
Yes, it says introducing GLab.
Okay, so I'll be talking about GLab, a project that I maintain. But before I start, I'd like to talk about myself. So I'm Clement Sam. I'm a senior software engineer at Storage, and you can find me everywhere, almost everywhere, with Prof Clems and then Clems Dev on Twitter. So what is GLab? GLab is basically an open source GitLab command line tool that brings GitLab to your command line. And then you can actually interact with your GitLab account directly to your command line, manage things like merge requests, your issues, GitLab. So you can actually watch GitLab CI pipelines directly on the command line. You can work with releases and then other GitLab actions. Okay, so before I continue, I would like to address a particular issue that people might actually attack me with. So, okay. Since I actually open sourced GLab, a lot of people have actually brought up this issue that a GitLab CLI tool actually hosted on GitHub. Yeah. And this is one of the issues. Someone actually opened an issue, suggested that we move the hosting to GitLab. And then I know many of you agree with him. I agree with him myself as well. Why did I host it on GitHub instead of GitLab? So I actually started working on GitLab earlier, actually before GitHub announced the official GitHub CLI 2, even in the beta stages. And then I actively use both GitHub and then GitLab. So personally, I use GitHub for personal projects. And then at the time of writing GitLab, I was using GitLab at work. So I actually created GitLab. GitLab was initially a simple script for myself to use it at work. And then I hosted it on GitHub before I made it open source. So yeah, I actually hosted it on GitHub before I made it open source. And then I've received a lot of criticism. People were saying that a GitLab CLI to host it on GitHub. So personally, I use GitHub, and then I was using GitLab at work. Okay. So actually, I've actually talked about this. I've discussed it, and then at the moment we are trying to enable some bidirectional sync so that we can receive contributions also on GitLab as well. But for the meantime, I receive contributions only on GitHub. But you can open issues on our GitLab mirror. Okay. So why did I create GitLab? So actually, several developers and organizations depend on GitLab. GitHub actually allows you to self-host GitLab. Most big open source organizations are self-hosting GitLab. And then GitLab actually houses their repositories, and then it actually serves as a version control system for individuals and teams. And then although GitLab actually has a user-friendly web-based GUI, and then it has, there are some desktop clients for it, but we all know that most developers actually spend a good amount of the development time in the command line too, and even our IDEs also come with terminals. Our IDEs actually also comes with terminal. So personally, I prefer doing everything directly in my terminal, working directly in my IDE without switching to the browser to open issues, to work on merge requests and all other stuff. So I actually created GitLab to actually simplify my workflow. At the time that I created GitLab, our workflow was to our workflow at work was to create issue, create a merge request for the issue. You push, you work on the merge request. You push, you wait for approval, and then you merge it. And then this was actually long for me. So to simplify, I created GitLab to do that for me. Okay, so why GitLab users love GitLab? GitLab is actually open source. It's free to use, and then it is cross-platform. I created GitLab with the project is actually written in Go, and then which means that the project is already cross-platform. And then on the project repository, there are workarounds on how to install it on different OSs like Windows, Mac OS, and then the other Linux distros. And then it's actually easy to work with. It just executing GitLab in a terminal just does the job. It's very easy to work with, and it is very interactive for people who are beginners to Git. And then also you can actually use it in your CI environment. And then it supports multiple GitLab instances. And then it doesn't only support repositories hosted on GitLab, GitLab.com, but it also supports self-hosted GitLab instances. And then it is highly configurable. You can actually, it's highly configurable. You can actually define your own custom commands. We have our commands like alias, and then the API commands, which you can actually use to define your own custom commands. And then it's a standalone tool. So unlike the other GitLab CLI tool, GitLab is a standalone tool. It is not a Git wrapper. It's a standalone tool. Yeah. So how can you contribute? We have some open issues that you can tackle, and then you can help with packaging for other platforms, and then you can write blog posts, and then maybe you can make tutorials for GitLab. Okay, so where do you start from? You can visit github.com/GitLab/contribute, and then it will. So when you visit github.com/contribute, Gila/contribute, it will actually come with the, you see the contributing guidelines here. And then it will list some of the issues that you can tackle, some good first issues. And then some of the issues are labeled with Hacktoberfest. You can tackle some of the issues. And then GitLab actually relies on the GitLab API. So we are still missing some of the endpoints. You can still work on new features. So you have to start with the contributing guide, and then we also have some docs that okay. So this is the repository. Okay, this is the repository. Then you can find some of the issues here, some of the issues that you can work on, and then if you want to make tutorials too, you can do that. But it's very easy to work with. Our README outlines how to install it. Okay. So there's one more thing I would like to talk about, and it's about my day job. And as I said earlier, I'm a senior software engineer at Storage, and at Storage we are building a decentralized cloud storage, and then we are open source as well. And then recently we announced our open development. We intend to receive contributions as well from the community. So you can actually read about our open development announcements. And then if you would like to contribute, just visit github.com/storage. Our repo, we've added the Hacktoberfest topic, and then you can contribute to our repositories. So thank you. That's all for me.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Clement. And last but not the least, we have Gustavo from Container Solutions, Germany.
Hi, guys. Can you hear me? Can you see me?
Yes, I can hear you. Clement, if
I
you
think
could
the screen from Clement's already is still sharing, right?
Yes. I'm sure like everyone is finding it a bit.
Okay.
All right. Here we go.
So, although Container Solutions is from Germany, myself, I am a Brazilian, so sorry for the accent. Same with Sebastian, I guess. It was really nice meeting him in person. Container Solutions is a company that is focused on solving cloud-native issues with all of its customers. And the way we do that is actually creating some kind of open source solutions to all of our customers. And what I'm going to share here, as soon as I can figure it out how to do it. My browser is preventing to share screens. Okay. I'll just interrupt a little bit and come back. Sorry for that. Very quick.
No worries.
Come.
While we wait for Gustavo to come back, just a quick reminder that the maintainers and speakers will be around the breakout session. So after this, we'll have a fun quiz, and we'll break the session into, say, 6 to 7 rooms, depending on the participants. And you can discuss with the maintainers and speakers as to how you can contribute to the specific projects. That go on for another 10 minutes, and then we can. So just a reminder, the maintainers and speakers, please stay around so that you can mention more about your project in the breakout rooms.
All right, I can see Gustavo is signing in now.
Wow, guys, so sorry about that. Now I can share my screen. I'm not sure if I'm hearing you, but if you're seeing me, then everything is going to work out just fine. I think it's this one, correct? So guys, I didn't really prepare a presentation here because I'd like to talk so much about everything that's going on here and how you can contribute. First of all, I've been into the open source community myself just like about a year or so. And after that, I actually joined as a maintainer of a project only recently. So this is kind of to say that it's really possible to get to that stage. If you want to, it's really, really nice to contribute and to feel part of a bigger community. So I want to talk about like 4 main GitHub projects we have here that I think you can all contribute. The first one is actually one really related to the cloud native world. So everyone who knows Kubernetes will understand the issue here. Kubernetes has its own way to manage some sensitive information, some sensible information inside of it. It's called a secret. But in order to have that secret, you have to kind of interact with Kubernetes to create it. And sometimes you're going to have some issues because you don't want that secret to be created directly there. So there are several tools from cloud providers, from specialized services that serves as a key management store. So the main objective of External Secrets Operator, it was actually a joint initiative between several companies, several different projects, and we're seeing a lot of them coming. The main goal is to have an operator that can connect with all of these cloud providers and create locally all of the secrets without you having to sync them. So it provides a lot of benefits. It's something that we know the need is here because every once in a while, 1 or 2 weeks, we see new GitHub repositories, open source communities trying to create this kind of solutions. So our big effort here is try to unite them in a single joint effort that is External Secrets Operator. Here at externalsecrets.io, you can see all the docs. The docs are only in English, so translating, it's already something that it's good to help. You can see here the contributing, how you can actually help us with developer guide, contributing process, and our code of conducts. And if you click here, you go to the actual page of the project. It's externalsecrets./externalsecrets. It's a page that, as you can see, is not from our organization directly. That's because it is a joint effort. It's the main benefit of the open source community. People that are working on similar things can try to get there and do similar stuff. So the main benefit is that we provide a lot of backends, a lot of communications with key management systems. And the idea is to have even more from the need of the community itself. Ways to call us. We have a community meeting every 2 Wednesdays. I think the next one will be in the next one. And we also have a Kubernetes Slack channel that is on /externalsecrets. So you can always talk with any maintainer directly there. You can help in this project seeing here the issues. There are a lot of issues all the time. If you like the project, you can always start it as well. And that's it for the external secrets. The other ones I'd like to talk about that I think they are more easy for people that are in the cloud native world to contribute and to participate in this Hacktoberfest. As part of our Go in Container Solutions, we have some projects that are basically examples to help people, not only our own people, our own employees, to help the community to work with Kubernetes, to work with infrastructure as a code tools. So we also have at containersolutions.kubernetes examples, a repository full of examples on how building YAMLs for Kubernetes. This project is also very nice because it provides a tool, a CRUD package, so you can actually get examples from the CLI. So this is the kind of thing that really helps when you're trying to do something. And a lot of examples are needed every time. We try to make from simple examples to more complicated ones. So there is always ways to help here. Even if you don't see something, you just make an issue, make a pull request. We'll probably accept it because it's very useful. And the other one is on Terraform examples. Terraform is an infrastructure as a code tool. And because of that, it also needs a lot of coding to be made, a lot of files to be created. And the idea here is the same, is to make it simple for us to understand or for us to get some concept here. These are the main 3 repos I think you can really help. We're going to tag it for Hacktoberfest because we really need the help here. And if you have any doubts, feel free to call us. We are on Slack. You can join Slack at Container Solutions. It's a public Slack. You can call us in Kubernetes Slack. We're almost in every Slack out there in the community. Just look for at Gus Carvalho and you should be fine. That's it.
All right, Gustavo, thank you so much. And thank you for all the presenters today. Torsten from Upright, Vishnu from DeepSource, Sebastian, Karen, Andreas, Clement, and Gustavo. All right, that's a wrap on the speakers and the presenters. Now on to some fun stuff, right, Cynthia?
Yes, Kejo, thank you. That's right. So it's a fun quiz, 10 questions for you. And after that, we'll break out into sessions. Let me share my screen. Are you able to see the screen?
Yes.
All right, if you can log on to www.kahoot.in and then use this pin to join the quiz, you'll be able to see yourself who's on the leaderboard. Waiting for players. George is here. Torsten, Verena, Daniel, Yash. So nice to read your names. Give you a few more seconds because we have 100+ folks. So this is the deal, right? There are going to be 10 questions and the questions are based on the presentation today. The top 5 winners will get a swag from us. So all you have to do is take a screenshot of your winning screen and then send it to me by email. Oliver will share my email address on the chat window. So let's see who wins. Give it a few more seconds for folks to join. Is that all? 42 opting in to join, or do we have more? Okay. All right. I'm going to start. We have 47 folks. Let's see how this goes. All of them are true or false questions. The first Hacktoberfest was in 2013, true or false? It's not just about right answers, it's also fastest fingers to win. So go on. All right, the answer is false because the first year was 2014, if you heard it right. And let's see the leaderboard. Ooh, Torsten is the top, and then followed by Yash and Dia. Okay, let's go to the next question. The first year of HF, 50 commits were required to get a limited edition t-shirt. The answer is true, and 30 of you have got it right. Let's see the leaderboard. Torsten still is on the top, and Newell is up by 8 places. You're the highest climber. Dia and Curtis, we still have hope in Yash and Kritarthu. During the first year of HF, 505 people earned a shirt. True or false? Yes, that is true. And look at it, it's 26 and 26. Let's see the leaderboard. Oh, Yash is on the top now. Thorsten, don't lose hope. For 2021 HF, a valid pull request is any PR that has been merged by a project maintainer. Yes or no? Ooh, it's no, it can't be any PR. As you know, you have to be tagged to Hacktoberfest or Hacktoberfest accepted. So let's see. Yash still is on top, and 3 players just hit answers, 3 answers right in a row. 2021, a PR label with Hacktoberfest accepted on a repo without the Hacktoberfest label will count towards your goal. You can also see the questions on top if you missed on the previous slide. Yeah, the answer is true. It can be either Hacktoberfest accepted or Hacktoberfest as a label. Yash is still on top, followed by Kritarth and Dia. Aditya, you're still not too far away. If you complete 4 valid pull requests in 2021, you can get a t-shirt and stickers and have a tree planted in your name. So be very attentive for this. It's not and, it's or. So 32 of you got it right. Yash is still the leader, the top on the leaderboard, and then followed by Dia and Aditya. Way to go, Aditya. During 2020's HF, as of this moment, 3% of participants have opted into pick trees, not teas. All right, the answer is true. 3% of them chose. Next. Yash is still on top. George, way to go. Made up to the leaderboard. In 2021, maintainers can mark spam PRs with the label invalid or spam. True, 47 if you got it right. Nice, Yash is still on top. 2 more questions to go. Only DigitalOcean employees can facilitate Hacktoberfest events. The answer is false. As I told you, anybody can host Hacktoberfest events, and all you have to do is submit on the Hacktoberfest website. Yash is still on top. Last question for 2021 HF pull requests on repos in Bitbucket will count. True or false? I don't know if you can hear the music. I can hear that. I'm not sure if I've shared sound. Yes, it's false. Unfortunately, Bitbucket is not on now. It's only GitHub and GitLab. Are you ready to see the winners? Okay. Third goes to Aditya. Congratulations, Aditya. Dia is on the 2nd place. And the 1st place go to Yash. Congratulations, Yash, Aditya, and Dia, and of course, Kritarth and Karan. So please send me a screenshot to my email ID and I will mail you your swags. Awesome. So I'd like to say thanks to all of you, for taking the time to register and then take time and effort to actually participate in the celebration kickoff. A huge shout out to all our maintainers and speakers because they were very prompt in responding to me on LinkedIn, on email, and they were happy to come and speak here. A huge shout out to our partners, Upright, DeepSource, Vishnu, Torsten, Christy, Eldad, Aditya, all of you. Thank you so much for taking time. And of course, I want to take this opportunity to thank my team as well. The star team of Imya, Kejal, Lorraine, Oliver, Vasily, and of course, there's a huge team behind this community event of Hacktoberfest like Matt, Phoebe, all of them based out of the US, Mason, and then from APAC, Mohan and team. So thank you all again. Feel free to continue to chat on the Discord forum. And of course, you can reach out to me if you have any queries. My email ID is available on chat, crajan@digitalocean.com. All the resources are available on the Hacktoberfest website. If you go there to resource section or even on the other event section, you'll be able to find a number of links that you can access to. I will be sharing the recording of this event sometime next week to your email IDs. I have your email IDs from the attendee list, so I'll be sharing that. But nevertheless, thank you so much. And I want you to say, please take care during these unprecedented times and keep contributing to open source. And let's all be together as a community. Thank you and happy hacking. Any last thoughts, team? If anybody wants to share, please feel free. You can unmute yourself and speak. All of you have the access.
Thank you for having me. And thank you for helping boost the open source community.
Thank you, Sebastian. Very kind of you.
Thank you, everyone, for your time. I'd just like to take this opportunity to first thank the speakers, thank the team. It's been amazing. And I would like to remind everyone that we do support open source projects through our sponsorship program. So I will be sharing in the chat the overview of our sponsorship program. And if your project qualifies, please feel free to submit a request and I'll be happy to review. Best of luck to everyone. Have an amazing Hacktoberfest.